Hello beautiful people of the universe. Welcome to my personal video blog. My name is Connor Santry, and on this video blog I upload videos about personal development, health and fitness, everything to do with healing ourselves, loving ourselves, and essentially transforming into the best of who we really are. And in this video blog I'm going to talk about intermittent fasting. I've been meaning to make this one for a while now, but I just had to address other aspects of my life, so it's only now that I'm getting around to it. But we're here now, so let's get into it. Intermittent fasting. I'm going to answer 3 questions. Number 1, what is it? Number 2, how do I do it? And number 3, why do I do it? So what benefits do I get from it? So number 1, what is intermittent fasting? Well, essentially, it simply means that we go for a period with no food, and then we go for a period with food, then no food, then with food. So we're actually all doing intermittent fasting all the time. If you go to sleep at night, like most people, for 6 to 8 hours, for that period, you are fasting. Now, what most people do is they get up in the morning and they have breakfast. They break their fast first thing in the morning. Where people like me differ, intermittent fasters like me differ, is we don't break our fast until later in the day. It could be sometime in the afternoon before I eat anything, even though I'm up early in the morning. Or sometimes I might not eat anything until the evening time. I might just have one massive meal in the evening. I'll talk more about that in a minute when I talk about the approach that I follow, but that's just to give you an idea of what we mean by intermittent fasting. It just means going for extended periods with no food, and then having periods where we eat all of our food, such as, let's say, a 6 to 8 hour window. There are many different protocols when it comes to intermittent fasting. Some people do 16-4 or 16-8. What I mean by that is they will go for 16 hours with no food, and then they'll eat all of their food within an 8-hour window. Another person might do 18-6. That would mean that they go for 18 hours with no food, and then they eat all of their food within a 6-hour window. So many different protocols. Also worth mentioning is there's a very different way to do it to what I just described there. There's a diet called the 5-2 diet. It springs from a book written by Michael Mosley, which was published in 2012. It's also called the fast diet. And what that is people eat regularly for, let's say, 5 days of the week, and then they eat very little for 2 days of the week. So 5-2. Regular for 5 days, and then kind of fasting for 2 days. That's becoming very popular around the world as well. Another approach is a lot of people are eating regularly for 6 days and then eating nothing for 24 hours. Then they eat regularly for 6 days and then nothing for 24 hours. And again, that is a type of intermittent fasting. So as you can see, there are many different approaches to doing it. Now, how I do it is similar to what I described a few minutes ago. What I do is something called the Warrior Diet. The Warrior Diet is a book that was written by health and fitness expert Ori Hofmeckler. I think it was published in around 2002. He was kind of one of the first guys to come out and say, hey, you don't need to be eating all the time. It's actually a good thing if you just back off from the food for extended periods and perhaps just eat in the evening time. And he called his approach the Warrior Diet. That is what I follow, and this is how it goes. I eat very little during the day. Very little. Like I said, the first thing I eat might be sometime in the afternoon or oftentimes the evening. Now, when the evening time does come, I will have a massive meal of so many different types of vegetables. I'll cook them all in a big wok. And with those veggies, I will have some source of protein. It could be fish, it could be beef, it could be eggs. And as well as the veggies and the protein, I will have lots of fats, healthy fats with that meal. I consume a lot of extra virgin olive oil, loads of extra virgin olive oil. I literally go through the bottles of that stuff every couple of weeks. So in general, my diet, as well as being this warrior diet, intermittent fasting approach, it's also quite high in fat, low in carbs, and rich in multiple vegetables. As many different colored vegetables as I can get in the evening time. Now, if I do eat during the day, usually my first intake of food would be like maybe 12 noon or 1 p.m. or maybe even 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. and it will be something light. I might just have some, maybe 2 or 3 scrambled eggs, just to get a bit of protein and fat into my system. Or yesterday, for instance, I had some berries and some almonds. Now, I did eat quite a lot of berries and almonds, but still, they're light. And the point I'm making is they're not heavy meals. It's just kind of like keeping it really light during the day, just grazing, just to give my body some kind of nutrition if I feel it needs it. Sometimes the need isn't there. So I'm listening to my body throughout all of this. That's really key to keep in mind as well. So that's the approach that I follow. It's called the Warrior Diet. If you want to learn more about it, you can check out Ari Hofmeckler's work. Highly recommended. The man is an absolute genius when it comes to health and fitness optimization. There's some really good podcasts with him on board as well on YouTube, which you might want to check out. So now we've covered the what is it, we've covered the approach that I follow. Let's dive into the benefits, the why I do it. And there are many, there really, really are. It's one of the most beneficial practices I have adopted in many, many years when it comes to both my health and fitness and my personal development. And here's why. Benefit number 1 for me is freedom. Freedom is one of my core values. It's so important to me to be free. It's one of the reasons why I have an online business and I coach clients from anywhere in the world and I make my videos and all that good stuff, as well as the fact that all of that is in alignment with the deepest truth of who I am. As well as that, it honors my core value of freedom. I can do it from anywhere and I can do it on my terms. I'm free to do things my way. Now, my core value of freedom is also honored from intermittent fasting because I'm not tied to having to prepare and eat food during the day. I don't have to get up in the morning and make breakfast and eat it and clean the cutlery and the dishes and all that kind of thing. No, I don't have to do that for lunch either if I don't want to. So I'm essentially free for the entire day to focus on other things. So freedom is number 1 for me. Number 2 is energy. Energy levels. Oh, this is a big one for me. And I can give you a bit of an explanation physiologically as to why intermittent fasting is so conducive to optimal energy levels. And it goes like this. So in many of my other videos, I've talked about our autonomic nervous system, which is composed of the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. Now, one term that many people tend to use for the parasympathetic branch of our nervous system is rest and digest. That is because when we eat food, it actually stimulates our parasympathetic nervous system and we go into a kind of restful, relaxed state. We all know this. When we eat a big meal, we can feel sleepy after it. That's because our body is digesting the food, our parasympathetic nervous system is stimulated, so we tend to get relaxed and sleepy. Now, for that reason, it could be argued that eating meals during the day is actually against the grain of our physiological evolutionary makeup. So the point that Ori Hofmeckler makes, and I tend to agree with it, is that during the day we want to have our sympathetic nervous system most active, most dominant. And when our sympathetic nervous system is active, that means that we are more alert, we are ready for activity, we are feeling sharper, we're feeling more energized, and our body is burning its own fat for fuel. So that is essentially why not eating food during the day is fantastic for being alert and energized, because we're sympathetic nervous system dominant during the day. And then in the evening time, and this is why I do it, I will eat the big meals in the evening, so my parasympathetic nervous system gets activated and I go into a very relaxed, sleepy state. So no food during the day equals sympathetic nervous system, aroused, alert, awake. Lots of food in the evening means parasympathetic nervous system, relaxed, chilled, let's take it easy and go to sleep or watch something on YouTube or whatever. So that's energy levels. That's why it works for me. And that's the point that Ori Hofmeckler makes as well. And I can attribute to that personally. Now let's move on to benefit number 3, which for me is productivity. So because of the first 2 benefits I just described, the fact that I'm completely free, my energy is high, I can commit myself to things that are very important to me in my life, such as my morning routine, such as connecting with my accountability partner, my buddy, such as making videos, such as studying, such as working with clients, such as committing to my health and fitness. All these very, very important things, I can divert my time and energy towards those instead of having to be making and eating food. So my rates of productivity go through the roof. I'm saving so much time and energy from not having to focus on food that my progress in the different pursuits of my life is much, much better. So that is a really, really key benefit for me right there. Let's move on to benefit number 4 for me, which is to do with staying lean, being ripped and looking my best. You know, it has to be said that when it comes to being muscular and ripped, I do have genetic gifts in that regard. I would be considered like a mesomorph type person, so it's always been kind of easy for me to build muscle and to get lean. However, with that said, of all the dietary approaches I have discovered and applied over the years, for me, intermittent fasting is the holy grail of being ripped all of the time. When I'm intermittent fasting, I'm indirectly not consuming that many calories. If I'm putting all of my food to the evening time, there's just no way that I can consume as many calories as I would if I was eating 3 square meals a day. So that fact alone, the fact that my calories are going to be quite low, will mean that I'm going to be lighter, I'm going to be more ripped, I'm going to be leaner. And it also means, because my sympathetic nervous system is so dominant during the day, and because I am fat adapted, which means my body can burn its own fat stores for fuel, because of those 2 facts and the caloric restriction or the caloric deficit, it's absolutely fantastic for making my body a fat burning machine and helping me to stay lean and ripped. Now, what I'm going to do, because as they say, a picture paints 1,000 words, I'm actually going to show you my body as an intermittent faster, and I've been doing a lot of it for the past few weeks. I'm going to show you what I look like right now, just to illustrate the rippedness that can be achieved from intermittent fasting. So, without further ado, let's check that out. So we'll start with the back. So as you can see, very, very lean. And I'm like this all the time. Now, like I said, I am kind of genetically lucky when it comes to that side of things. I'm going to put my hat back on. But intermittent fasting plays a huge role in that as well. So, best thing I've ever discovered, and I've been committed to health and fitness for like 10, 15 years. Let's move on to benefit number 5. Health. The health benefits of intermittent fasting are immense. They really, really are. I've looked into the research quite a lot over the years, and I've looked into it again recently to familiarize myself with it for this video. So, you know, I might not be like the world leading expert on all of these scientifically proven health benefits, but I'll give you a bit of an overview on what I do know. First of all, intermittent fasting is associated with a healthier brain. It's associated with increased production of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which essentially means that our brains are better at changing. As we go about living our lives, our brains are more malleable, so we're better at learning things and we're better adapting to the different circumstances in our lives. And it's also linked in relation to brain with better cognitive function, better motor skills, and other stuff as well. So that's brain health and performance. I think we can all agree that our brains are very important for being our best and living our best lives. So I'll move on with the health benefits. Let's see. There's something known as autophagy. Autophagy is very, very interesting. And this helps to explain a lot of the health benefits that are derived from intermittent fasting. Autophagy is a scientific concept which means that our cells go into like clean house mode. So when we refrain from eating food for a while and our bodies don't have to focus on digestion, what tends to happen is this thing called autophagy. It's like our cells start to recycle any damaged materials that are hanging around, little pieces of damaged proteins or any waste products that are hanging around. Our cells and our bodies just start to go into recycle and repair mode, just getting rid of all those things. So that's one of the main reasons that many scientists believe that intermittent fasting can actually help to prevent things like cancer and many other diseases. And it also explains why it is just so damn healthy for us in so many ways. Autophagy, really, really interesting. Might want to look further into that if you like. I mentioned cancer prevention. I've mentioned having a healthier brain. I've mentioned autophagy. Let's see what else. Heart health. Heart health. Intermittent fasting has been associated with, let's see, a decrease in LDL, so low density lipoproteins. That's the bad cholesterol. That's the one we want to go down. Intermittent fasting can help decrease that. It can help to decrease triglyceride count, which again is contributing to our heart health. Another benefit when it comes to intermittent fasting for our heart health is it is associated with lower blood pressure. So it's also associated with less inflammation, decreased inflammation in our bodies. You know, when you feel like really tense or sore in your joints or muscles, that's a type of inflammation. Now, like I said, science has shown that intermittent fasting is linked with a decrease in that. I can attest to that personally as well. I find that when I do eat meals during the day, I'm far more likely to feel tension in different parts of my body, whether it's my back or my knee or whatever. Whereas when I go for a couple of weeks or months not eating much food during the day, I'm far less likely to feel that kind of tension. Far less likely. I'm way more looser and freer and just feel better. There's just less inflammation in my body. So that is inflammation. That is heart health. Let's see what else I can remember. Growth hormone. Intermittent fasting is associated with increased growth hormone. And I'm not sure if you know this, but growth hormone is linked with so much in the human system. Our mental health, our physical health, our rate of aging. So this is one of the reasons why many people in the world who are interested in slowing down the aging process get into intermittent fasting, because of its beneficial effect on growth hormone. So yeah, growth hormone is a huge one. That's involved in every single thing in our bodies. And like I said, it also affects our mental health, our emotional health. So more growth hormone, to a certain extent. We don't want to have crazy high growth hormone, but you know, a nice healthy flow of growth hormone in our bodies is just so good for us. So moving along with the health benefits, one more I will say is longevity. Now, this is based on animal studies, but some of the findings are actually incredible. Scientists have found that they can extend the lifespan of mammals by up to 83% by putting them on an intermittent fasting protocol. I think it was mice in the studies. So what they're suggesting, what they are implying, is that intermittent fasting can significantly increase the lifespan of humans as well. Now, that hasn't been proven in humans, but you know, it's very likely that that may very well be the case. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, considering everything I just told you about. All of the personal benefits that I experience and all of the other scientifically proven benefits that I've talked about, particularly in regard to the brain health, the autophagy, the heart health. And another thing I will say is scientists suspect that when we do intermittent fasting, we're actually exposing our bodies to a stressor, and then when we eat the meals in the evening time, we're reducing that stress. Then the next day we're exposing ourselves to a stressor again, then we reduce the stress. And what that can actually do to an organism is something called hormesis. Hormesis really means that when you apply stress to something in the right dose, that it will get stronger over time if you keep doing it. Like exercise is an example of hormesis. We apply stress to the body in the right dose, and over time it gets stronger. So it's very possible that intermittent fasting is a way for us to apply nutritional stress to our bodies so that we gradually adapt to that stress and get stronger physiologically and mentally over time. So that's hormesis, another very interesting one. I must say as well that I had a cup of coffee this morning, so I'm I'm full of energy right now. I also had a cold shower, and it's like gone 12 noon in the day, and I have not eaten since yesterday evening. So the intermittent fasting is helping with my energy levels as well. So that is it for this video, my friends. I'm glad you have tuned into it. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to hear more about my explorations in personal development and health and fitness and all that good stuff. That is it for this one, guys. Comments are welcome below as usual. Thanks again for tuning in. Talk to you soon. Peace.